Everyone in town thought Lily was invisible until the day her scream tore through the valley. A scream so raw and desperate that it made a retired Navy SEAL drop his coffee, sprint to the cliffside, and command his K9 partner as if he were back on the battlefield. Nobody knew the full truth. Not the bullies, not the teachers, not even Lily herself at times. That isolation hurt deeply. Her life was about to collide with a man trained to save people who never expected rescue. And what happened on that cliff would change every single one of them forever. Lily had always been quiet, not shy, just gentle and reserved. People avoided her because she walked with a limp, dragging her right foot slightly behind the left. A childhood nerve disorder had weakened the muscles in her leg, but she never complained about it. She loved school, loved reading books, and loved sketching animals, especially dogs with their loyal expressions. She dreamed of becoming an animal therapist one day, helping children like herself feel brave and understood through the comfort of pets. But dreams were hard to hold on to when daily reality felt so heavy and unforgiving. Every morning at school, the same group of teenagers waited for her at the stairs near the back gate. They didn't truly hate Lily. They simply needed someone weaker to make themselves feel bigger and stronger. And Lily, soft-spoken, limping, never fighting back, was an easy target. They shoved her notebooks out of her hands, mocked her uneven walk, and snatched her lunch bag. She simply lowered her eyes and whispered politely, "Can I have it back, please?" One of them, Avery the ringleader, had a charming smile that fooled adults completely, but it froze every kid in fear. The others followed him like obedient shadows. Sometimes he pushed Lily's shoulder hard, just to watch her struggle to regain her balance on unsteady legs. Sometimes he'd imitate her limp exaggeratedly, dragging his foot dramatically across the ground while the others laughed cruelly. And every time, Lily walked away with her head down, repeating her mom's words to herself, "Be kind, even when it hurts." But kindness alone didn't stop the pain from building inside her. One Monday afternoon, the group followed her beyond the school grounds into the open valley. She liked taking the long way home, where the landscape opened wide and the cliffs overlooked the rushing river below. She loved the wind there, the way it whipped around her, feeling like invisible wings brushing her shoulders. It made her feel equal to everyone else, almost normal for a little while. But that day, the wind carried mocking voices behind her. Avery shouted, "Hey, slow walker! We didn't give you permission to leave yet." Lily froze in place. The cliff edge was just a few feet away, with rocky and uneven ground all around. Her heart tapped painfully against her ribs like a trapped bird. "Please," she whispered softly, "just let me go home." The boys circled her closely, laughing as they closed in. "We just want to talk," Avery said mockingly, stepping even closer. "Why are you always acting so special? You're not." Lily tried to step back carefully, but her weakened foot snagged on a loose rock. She stumbled dangerously. The edge wasn't far now. Panic shot through her chest like electricity. Avery reached for her backpack suddenly, yanking it hard from her shoulders, and the world tilted violently. Her feet slipped on the gravel. Her arms flailed wildly for balance. The sky spun, blue, then white, then nothing but the terrifying blur of the deep valley below. She felt weightless, terrifyingly weightless in freefall. Then she screamed. It wasn't a deliberate cry for help. It was pure fear collapsing into raw sound. A sound that broke through the quiet afternoon like rolling thunder. And that scream, in that one shattering moment, reached someone who understood real danger more than anyone else in the small town. Just a mile away on a quiet ranch, a man in his early 40s tightened the leash of his K9 partner, a massive Belgian Malinois with alert, burning eyes full of intelligence. The man, Ethan Cole, a former Navy SEAL, medically retired after injury, stopped mid-step abruptly. His dog, Shadow, froze too, ears pricked, because both of them had heard it clearly, a scream, a real one, utterly desperate. Ethan's extensive training didn't allow for hesitation. His body reacted instantly, as if he was still in uniform on a mission. "Shadow, let's move," he snapped, voice sharp and commanding, and the two of them sprinted full speed toward the distant cliffs. Meanwhile, as Lily tumbled down the steep slope, her hands clawed instinctively for anything, roots, stones, protruding branches, to stop her fall. Her body slammed hard into a jutting rock, and she winced sharply, losing her fragile grip once again. Her disabled leg dragged uselessly behind her, slowing the descent slightly but not stopping it entirely. The rough slope scraped her palms raw, tore her sleeves to shreds, and filled her mouth with choking dust. She called out again weakly, her voice breaking in terror. Up above on the cliff, Avery and the boys froze in shock, their faces draining of all color. They hadn't meant for this to happen. Or maybe deep down they had pushed too far, but not like this, not this real, not this dangerously close to tragedy. Avery whispered shakily, "We should call someone for help." But paralyzing fear trapped all of them in place. They looked at each other wide-eyed and shaking, and then, in panic, they turned and ran away. Lily's fingers finally caught the thick root of a bush growing stubbornly out of the cracked rock face. It held her weight for a precious second, just long enough for a tiny spark of hope to flicker in her chest. Then she felt it loosen dangerously in the soil. The world spun again as she lost hold. Her body dropped another few terrifying feet down the slope. Her scream broke a second time, even louder and more piercing, and Ethan Cole moved faster than before. He reached the cliffside quickly, eyes scanning the terrain sharply, breath steady and controlled like he was back in combat operations. Shadow barked sharply and urgently, ears pointed directly toward the precarious slope below. Ethan moved down the incline with the precision of someone who'd climbed treacherous cliffs under enemy fire. Each step was measured, controlled, and deliberate. Then he saw her, a small girl, utterly terrified, clinging desperately to a thin branch that was visibly giving way under her weight. He shouted firmly down to her, "Don't move!" "Hold on." Lily's head lifted weakly at the sound. She blinked through the dust and tears. Streaks of dirt crossed her cheeks like war paint. Then, with a sharp crack, the branch snapped completely. She dropped again, but Ethan was already sliding controlled down the slope, feet pounding against the rocks, Shadow barking furiously behind him from above. He lunged forward with everything he had, stretching his arm as far as his bones and muscles allowed, and he caught her wrist just in time. Her body jerked to a sudden stop from the force. Intense pain shot up her arm like fire. Tears spilled freely down her face. Ethan gritted his teeth against the strain. "I've got you," he said, his voice deep, steady, and utterly unshakable. "I'm not letting go, no matter what." And for the first time in her young life, Lily truly believed someone meant those words. He lifted her slowly and carefully, inch by agonizing inch, using every muscle honed and strengthened by years of intense missions. Shadow stayed positioned above them on safe ground, barking encouragement as if he fully understood the urgency of the rescue. After several long, agonizing seconds filled with grunts of effort and heavy breathing, Ethan finally managed to pull Lily onto a wider ledge. Her chest heaved with sobs, her legs trembling uncontrollably from shock and exhaustion. Ethan knelt beside her gently. "You're safe now," he said reassuringly. "I promise you that." And Lily broke completely. Not in fear anymore, but in overwhelming relief, gratitude, and exhaustion from years of feeling unseen and unimportant, until the moment her life had nearly ended on that cliff. Ethan put a strong, protective arm around her shaking shoulders. As she sobbed quietly into his shoulder, his voice softened with concern. "Who did this to you? Tell me what happened." Lily shook her head fearfully, still terrified. "Please don't tell anyone," she begged. "They'll be angry. They'll make it worse." Ethan felt his chest tighten with anger and protectiveness. Because this wasn't a simple accident. This was deliberate cruelty, and he wasn't about to walk away from it,